This is the human heart. Central to our physical body, our survival, revered by poets throughout history as the emotional center of our being. The place we instinctively touch when asked to point to ourselves. And now, what we have known intuitively is being understood scientifically. Researchers are unlocking a new science of the heart that could change everything we know about health and our interconnected nature. Coherence is a state of balance between heart, mind, and emotions, creating a favorable cascade of neural, hormonal, and biochemical events that benefit the entire body. But this phenomenon not only benefits us personally, it affects everything around us, emitting an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of the body. When you are in coherence, your heart resonates at the same frequency as the Earth's magnetic field. This frequency positively affects everything around you. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? This is the purpose of the Global Coherence Pulse. If we can measure the impact of thousands of people in coherence at the same time, it could lead to a breakthrough in understanding the full potential of the human heart. All you need to participate is your presence and your heart. To take it to the next level, join the research study by downloading the app and getting an HRV monitor to measure your personal coherence. The world needs it more than ever before. Each human heart is unique and magnificent by itself. But imagine what could be possible when we unify.
Welcome to the Global Coherence Pulse. This is our first Global Coherence Pulse of 2021. And I just want to start by saying thank you for investing the next hour of your day in centering yourself in heart coherence and joining with other people from around the world to pulse the planet with more love and care and compassion, forgiveness, empathy. We really need it more than ever right now. Right? There's so much happening in our personal lives and on the planet. And taking this time, taking this hour together to practice and pulse the planet supports our own nervous system, our own immune system, our own well-being, the environment, and really together in coherence, our impact is exponentially greater than the sum of our parts. So I really just a heartfelt thank you that there are people. We had over 1,000 people register for this first pulse this year, which is beautiful. And we're going to increase those numbers throughout the year because we need more and more islands of coherence as the world goes into greater dis-ease, disorder, disequilibrium. And it's these islands of coherence. It's these fields of coherent love that can really help shift the system to a higher order. So thank you so much for being here and for saying yes. And I see people are putting their name in the chat and where you're calling in from. We're really coming from all around the world. On some of our meditation and breakout calls, we've had mothers with their children meditating together. So if you're out there with your family, thank you so much for bringing this into the heart of your home. Really is such an important thing. So if you have the app, the Global Coherence app, we're really encouraging this year that as many people as possible log on to the app so we can start to track where we are on the planet. If you have a sensor, that's optional, but if you had one, put it on, because this year, HeartMath and GCI, through the guidance of Roland McCready and Claudia Wells, the other co-founders of the Global Coherence Pulse, we're going to be able to start offering more feedback on our impact by using tools like the app and the sensor, but also, as you'll find over the next couple months, as we lead to a coherence event that HeartMath is doing in March, that we're going to hear more and more about the tree sensors, about the Global Consciousness Project, and other things that this community of coherence, this Pulse community, can begin to partner with HeartMath and GCI, and we can begin to really see the power of our collective heart. So settle down. We have an hour together. Following the meditation, we'll have a little partner spotlight with our guest today, Gavin Andrews from the UK's HeartMath and We at Heart. And we'll have a nice long meditation. But before we do that, Gavin will kind of open up the theme for today and really what we're pulsing the field with and why that's important. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Gavin, and I just love seeing all of you come on. Thank you so much again for being here today. Makes my heart feel so happy to be in a field of coherent commitment and love. So I'm going to spotlight your video, Gavin. Thank you so much for being here. And I am going to read your introduction. So Gavin is the managing director of HeartMath in the UK and Ireland. And Gavin discovered HeartMath, coherence, and heart-based living about 14 years ago. And since then, he's found joy, meaning, and purpose in sharing the science and practice of coherence with others. You know, Gavin, that's exactly what happened for me, is the moment that I heard that quote, "Islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to lift the system to a higher order," I immediately knew that we were the answer. And I spent the rest of my life really understanding and learning what coherence is so that I could be ready, so that we could be ready. So I really feel that in your heart in the little bit that we've gotten to know each other. During today's pulse, Gavin will share one of the Syntropy State coherence breath pacers so that we can all settle our minds and bodies and be ready to shift into coherence and begin our pulsing. And I'll just say, in these first 3 months, in this first quarter of our pulse events, I really want for us to reestablish the very simple practice of heart coherence. And Gavin's the perfect person to lead us into that, because so much of his work with HeartMath and We at Heart, which he also founded, is all about supporting people all around the world to come into heart coherence and to practice in small groups and in large community settings like this. So Gavin, love you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm turning this over to you to guide us into this beautiful day today.
Wow, thank you, Teresa. Thank you. So yeah, thank you to you. Thank you to Claudia and Roland, who I know aren't here, unfortunately, but I really appreciate the invitation to share with everybody today. So it's a real pleasure, real honor. And what I'm going to be doing is sharing We at Heart and Syntropy States with you. And to be frank, I've been really excited about this all day, because it's 8 p.m. here in the UK. And so I've had to wait with excitement all day long to share. So the theme of today's session, and really what We at Heart is all about, is care and connection, and how we may use the power of our hearts to overcome our differences and our conflicts, and some of the drives that we might have to separate from those people who we don't easily resonate with. So from one perspective, it seems that the human race is more divided than it's ever been, and over the last year or so, we've had plenty of examples of conflict, people desiring separation from each other in terms of their race or their gender, things like generation, tribes that they're from, nations, politics, all of those types of things. And of course, the COVID pandemic has then forced much of the world's population into actual physical separation and even fear of each other too. So we've even got now new variants of COVID, which are being labelled as being from certain regions or even countries. And that makes us even more fearful. So we've got new variants from the UK and South Africa, Brazil, new Chinese variants. And the positioning of these variants of a virus as being from a nation or from a certain type of peoples exacerbates the fear and drives further separation between us. So, fear and conflict makes good news. But what doesn't make the news so much is that there's an equally large, if not even larger, portion of the human race whose hearts are reaching out for care and for connection, and who actually wish for greater compassion and greater togetherness. So, everyone in this room is dedicated to coherence, and we know that our differences and our diversities are just facets of the unity of our whole, and they're what make us beautiful. So the fact is that actually humans are 99.9% identical. So at least in terms of our genes anyway. So, we're 99.9% identical, but it's the 0.1% that gives us those variations in our skin color and our eye color and our hair, our gender, shape, size, all of those types of things. But we focus so much attention on that 0.1%. And we view those as differences, and we make judgments about those differences. So that's in part where some of our conflict and separation comes from, is a tiny, tiny proportion of ourselves that appears different. The other source of our conflict and separation, of course, is our beliefs. So humans are storytellers. And ever since we created art, and ever since we began speaking languages, we've created images and stories to describe the world, to try and make sense of things that we don't understand, and to name things and categorize things. And today, there's really just a bewildering variety of narratives. And in our desire to understand, control, feel safe, we attach ourselves to specific narratives. And then we seek media and information sources which will align us with our preferred stories and beliefs. And in this age of technology and social media and, algorithms, artificial intelligence, we then become kind of sealed in an echo chamber or like a vacuum where everything's reinforced, elaborated upon, and then hardwired into the view that we have of the world. But the reality is that there is no true narrative. They're all fictions. And so, things like nations and politics and races, tribes, beliefs, those things are all imaginary. And those things are not who we are. So my perspective, and one that I suspect I share with most of you, is that the only sustainable way to get closer to the truth of who I am, who you are, and how we should act in the world is to connect more deeply with our hearts. And the only way to experience the truth of someone else is to connect with their heart. And I'm not suggesting that that's necessarily easy all of the time. I've been at it for over 14 years and I haven't cracked it, but I'm certainly a lot closer to it than I was. I'm certainly able to connect more frequently and be in control of that, to self-regulate that. And we, in this Zoom room, we all know that coherence is the state which can facilitate that connection. That connection with one's own heart and with the hearts of others. But it's not really enough to know. So we have to move from the knowing and the intending to the doing and the living of it. So we need to journey from the conceptual, the head-based stuff, to the concrete, which is the practical and the practice. The HeartMath founder, Dr. Childrade, has a couple of beautifully simple phrases which describe this process. So he says that each of us needs to bring the sky to the street, and that you have to do the heavy lifting for yourself. And those phrases, when I first came across them, I can't remember if I heard them or if I read them, but those phrases really resonated with me, and they really define what I've decided my purpose and my passion is, both for myself and for the way that I interact and share, connecting the heart with others. So that's why I'm delighted to live my purpose as part of the HeartMath family, and it's also what actually drove the creation and me seeking out other like-minded people to co-create and collaborate on We At Heart and Syntropy states as well. So what We At Heart is, and we'll get to experience it together, but it's a very simple, very powerful and very practical way for people who actually might never have heard of HeartMath. In fact, most of the people who take part in it initially had never heard of HeartMath, or never heard of Coherence. They've never really considered what heart-based living might be, but it's a way for people like us to reach out to the wider world and to help those people engage in connecting with their own hearts and the hearts of others. And while we might sort of describe what we're doing with We Ed Heart, or more broadly our coherence practices, we might describe that type of thing as heart-focused meditation. What's really going on is that people are actually doing and acting. They're behaving differently. So during these processes, we're not disassociating or floating off. We're actively associating with feelings of care, appreciation, compassion, gratitude. And we're actively associating with those feelings for ourselves and for others. And so when actively connecting with our own hearts, and when the people that participate in We Ed Heart actively connect with their hearts, and then they connect with the hearts of others, what's really going on is behavior change. And my belief is that we can actually only overcome our differences and our conflicts and our drives to separate from each other, avoid each other if we don't resonate. I think we can only do that if we change our patterns of behaviors, and actually the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts which drive them. So that's really how we do our own, to use Dr. words again, heavy lifting, and also how we do go about bringing the sky to the street. Otherwise, these things are just ideas, ideals. So I'll shortly be sharing a kind of slightly shorter We Ed Heart session with you. But before I do that, I also wanted to share syntropy states with you. So syntropy states is really just a very simple, practical, powerful way for people to practice and to benefit from coherence. And it makes it easy and enjoyable for them to experience the shift in state, get a feel for what coherence is like, and then over time, ideally create a habit of practice and then begin to hardwire coherence in as more of a skill. So with syntropy states, what we create is audiovisual relaxation aids and breath pacers. We do this using beautiful digital generative art, and lovely ambient and chill out music, and we include things like 8-dimensional binaural production techniques. So these things are sublime, and we're really excited about how they might help people to find a bit of calm and clarity and some balance during these frankly chaotic times, and how we might actually be able to use this type of approach to introduce even more people into coherence practice, people who've never heard of coherence before. Actually, just by the way, my collaborators and my co-creators, my friends in syntropy state, Mark and Ali, are in the room. So hi to you guys. Ali creates our beautiful art and Mark creates the lovely music. Okay, so enough for me. Enough for me. What I'd love to do then is to share one of these with you, if that's okay. So over the next 4 minutes, we'll play one. And what I'd like you to do as the video is playing is to engage in the heart focused breathing. So you're going to see a geometric shape. The geometric shape will expand and contract. And so breathe in, you're focused in the heart. Breathe in through the heart as you see the shape expand, and then breathe out through the heart as you see the shape contract, and then try and feel those feelings of care, appreciation, and gratitude. So my friend Ian, would you be able to play the video, please? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Zoom doesn't necessarily do the high definition justice. I think you probably got a good idea there. So we'll play another one of those at the end, actually, to make sure that we leave in a suitably coherent state. So look, let's now begin the weird heart process. So what follows is going to be a slightly shorter than normal session, but it will give you at least a full experience. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a minute of heart-focused breathing. So that's going to further quieten our minds and our bodies, help us shift into coherence, and help us connect more with our hearts. So sit nice and comfortably, close your eyes or keep them open, whichever you prefer. But first of all, shift your attention and your focus to your heart or to your chest. You might find that putting your hand on your heart is helpful. And now imagine that your breath is flowing into and flowing out of your heart or your chest. So breathe deeply but comfortably. Ideally breathe through your nose and try to make your breath nice and smooth and balanced. Relax your belly so that it can expand and contract easily with each breath. Just try to get your breath as smooth and sustained as possible. Okay, we'll do that for another minute or so. Okay, so now we're moving to a quick coherence technique. So keep your focus in your heart, keep the breath flowing deeply and smoothly. Make sure to keep the breath balanced. And now I'd like to invite you to recall someone or something for which you feel genuine care, appreciation, or gratitude. So it doesn't matter what it is, it could be a person, a place, pet, memory, possession. It could even be just something really simple like the sunshine or the beauty of nature. So now that you've recalled that feeling of care, appreciation, or gratitude for someone or something, just gently breathe the feeling in and out with the breath while keeping your focus in your heart. And again, we'll just enjoy this for a couple of minutes and I'll let you know when we're ready to move on. Okay, so now we're going to move into a series of heart locking techniques. So keep your focus in your heart, keep your breathing deep, comfortable, balanced. And if you haven't already closed your eyes, then you may wish to do so now. So now I'd like to invite you to shift your attention and your intention towards everybody within this group. And so on your out breath, please radiate out feelings of care and appreciation for everybody in the room this evening. You may choose to do this to each individual or to the group collectively. So on your out breath, radiate out the feelings of care and appreciation. And then on your in breath, breathe the feelings of care and appreciation back into and for yourself. We're going to spend a little under 5 minutes doing this. So don't worry if your mind wanders, just bring your focus back to your heart. Imagine the breath flowing in and out, and then just begin radiating out the feelings of care and appreciation to the group again, and breathing them back into and for yourself. So enjoy, and I'll let you know when we're ready to move on. Okay, so now I'd like to invite you to extend your attention and your intention outside of this group to include now the people in your life who are important to you. So keep your focus in your heart, and on your out breath, please radiate out feelings of care, appreciation, and compassion towards those people who are important to you. And you may choose to do this to specific individuals or to people collectively. Perhaps if you know a person or some people who are experiencing specific challenges or stresses, then you could spend a few minutes specifically focusing on sending them your care and compassion. And then remember, on your in breath, breathe in feelings of care, appreciation, and compassion back into and for yourself. So again, we're going to spend a few minutes doing this. Enjoy, and I'll let you know when we're ready to move on. Okay, so now I'd like to invite you to extend your attention and your intention out beyond those people who are important to you, and to now include all people and all sentient life everywhere. Keep your focus in your heart, and on your out breath, please radiate out feelings of care and compassion towards all peoples and all sentient life. And remember on your in breath to breathe the feelings of care and compassion back into and for yourself. And again, we're going to spend a little under 5 minutes doing this. And now for this last minute, know that you're very deeply in your heart. Really try to connect with and feel your unity with the whole of life. And just know in your heart that we're all living now, in this moment. And our intention is to live from our hearts and to live in peace. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meditation. But what we're going to do now is we're going to use our, by now, very deep state of coherence to access our heart intelligence. So I'm going to ask you two very short, very simple questions. And I'd like to invite you to just gently ask your heart for an answer. So you don't need to rush, you just need to see what emerges. So the first question is, which person or people would you benefit from building greater care and connection with? Which person or people would you benefit, and would they benefit from you building greater care and connection with? And the next question is, what action or actions will you take to create that greater care and connection? What action or actions will you take to create that greater care and connection? Okay, so we've come to the end of the We Had Heart session. So please know that the time we spent together this evening hasn't just benefited us in terms of our own health and happiness, but it would have also benefited others, because we all know that those heartfelt feelings of care and appreciation, feelings like gratitude and compassion, those feelings are actually never wasted because they have power. And whilst we might not be able to see the immediate impact of what we've just done and our efforts, we are all raising our individual and our collective consciousness, and we're also increasing our personal, our social, and our global coherence. And that is especially important during these very challenging and transformational times. So finally, I think what we're going to do is to share another one of the Syntropy States videos. And so what I'd like to invite you to do is to just do the heart focused breathing again whilst you're watching the video. And then perhaps if you were to feel a nudge from your heart to do so, then perhaps you could please share a message from your heart in the chat. It could be a message, anything at all. Just if you get that nudge from your heart to share something, then please feel free to pop something in the chat as we play the video.
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Gavin, and those beautiful pulsing meditations. I'm going to put a link in the chat again for where you can find these states. I'm actually going to order them. It looks like you can download some beautiful music and the visuals and use them anytime to kind of pace ourselves and use them as part of our meditation. So beautiful.
Yeah, well, there's a link which I'll pop in the chat as well, where people can go and view one of those on Vimeo anytime they want. And then, yeah, sure, if you want to buy them, please do.
Yeah, it's so nice. You know, it is nice for us to support the artists who are creating things like this. And I know so many of us are just putting our love in to create things that will support each other. And when we can give a little bit back, it really helps so that more can happen. So I encourage anybody who really enjoyed that, if you want to do that. And Gavin, the meditation was so beautiful. And I love that we're really starting the year with the simple practice, right, that we can do anytime. And my hope is once a month, we're doing these larger events and we want everyone to come and pulse the field. But really, it's to begin to cultivate a practice in your life every day. Really, if we stopped every day, even for a few minutes, and came into heart coherence, which is our natural state, it puts us into greater resonance with life and earth and what's going on at a deeper level of this huge change that we're in. And I think allows us to respond more lovingly and with more care than we would if we don't have those moments of pause. So let's all do that more and more every day. And Gavin, I wonder if you just have some closing words for the meditation. And then if you stay on, we always have a little partner spotlight for about 15 minutes after the meditation. And you'll learn more about Gavin and what they're doing with We at Heart and the resources that are available to you to help you keep going. So just some closing words on this, Gavin, and then I'd love to turn it over to you to share about We at Heart.
Yeah, well, my closing words are to agree with you that what we need to do is to do this, to do more frequently, to make the coherence practice part of our days. And actually, because we're living through these crazy, chaotic times, it's more and more important to keep putting ourselves back into balance so that we don't get pulled into some of the dramas and the narratives and find ourselves connecting with stories that are not real and which don't serve us well or other people well. The truth is in our hearts, and that's the most reliable source of information that any of us have. So the more time that we can reconnect with the heart, and the more time that we can be coherent and regulate ourselves and manage the way you interact with others, the better life will be. And I really do think it's that simple. It's just a matter of taking it out of the thinking and intending into the being and the doing. Then the last words, I just found a lovely quote the other day by somebody called Kartik Parthasarathi, who I'd never heard of before. I think he's an Indian poet, like a contemporary poet. But the quote is, "Between the heart's desire to reach out and the brain's hesitation lies the life that gets wasted." And I think that's beautiful.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm going to just put a few links in the chat here before you start of some other events that are happening. We do this pulse on the third Saturday of every month. And so you can kind of count on that that's a day that you can make for cultivating greater coherence. And there's a few other initiatives that happen on this third Saturday. So there's an Uplift Pulse, which is with the Uplift team. And they do a question and answer with the community and bring on some guests, and they'll have a beautiful experience today. And then Saturday Night Alive, you can come on in the evening times for kind of like a consciousness variety show, which is really fun. And this one is in honor of Martin Luther King and looks like it has a beautiful lineup. So there's some links in there. If you want to make this third Saturday of every month a day where you really dedicate it to your own heart coherence and pulsing the field with more love. So Gavin, I'm going to turn it over for you. And those of you that are staying on, you'll get to learn a little bit more about We at Heart, our featured partner for this month. Love you all.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Okay, so I think I'm just going to share my screen with you actually and just show you some slides while I talk through what We Had Heart's really all about. Well, I've actually just experienced it, so you kind of already know. Okay, so here we are. Hopefully you can all see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, We Had Heart is a growing global movement, and basically what it's all about is the vision is that in every single city and town and village across the world, we will be coming together to connect with our hearts and the hearts of others. So this is the vision. This is what we want to achieve. And what will be happening then is that we are experiencing heartfelt care and compassion and an intention to live together in peace. And we add heart to our lives and the lives of others. So what it is then is, well, We Had Heart's a growing movement, an international movement, and it's empowering people, many of whom have never ever heard of heart math or coherence or living from the heart, anything like this before, but it's empowering people to connect with their hearts and the hearts of others, to live more fully from their hearts and to thereby add more heart to the world. And why? Well, why would anyone get involved in this? Well, in simple practical terms, coherence practice is good for your health and your happiness. And it's great to come together meaningfully with people, and heartfully more and more people wanting to come together, but at this particular time lots of us are separated. So it's a way to come together meaningfully and heartfully with others, and it's also a practical way, a sky to the street way of playing your part in raising collective consciousness with the aim of creating greater fairness, understanding and peace in our world. So the idea is that this is practical. So how does it occur? Well, each month, small groups, lots and lots of small groups come together globally to practice the simple but powerful heart-focused meditation. So practicing what we did together, basically. And so those meditations are all about intentionally experiencing the heartfelt feelings of care, appreciation, compassion for self and for others. So We Had Heart is currently hosted by heart math coaches. So there's at least one per month, and the idea is that we all, as with the Global Coherence Pulse, we all come together on the same day and ideally at the same time, or at least locally. So wherever people are, wherever the groups are in the world, they're coming together at their 8:15 p.m. And generally the groups are on for 35 minutes, they're online and they're free. And so what happens is a series of coherence meditations. Those meditations are always inwardly and outwardly focused. So we start with group and self, then as we did the important people in your life and self, and then the idea is all people in all places, all sentient life and self. So that's the majority of the meditation, and then we engage in that very, very simple heart intelligence question. So that's called Ask Your Heart, and each month there's a different theme, so a different question and a different action that we're hoping the heart prompt. And then finally, we do as we did when we were watching the Syntropy States video, is a share from the heart. So people share their messages via chat. Some groups run on after that actually, and those messages are shared live in Zoom by people. So the movement's growing. We've got now over 120 groups across 30 different countries. We're going to have a big growth over the next few months as our friends in Germany, HeartMath Deutschland, and as more and more of the HeartMath US trained coaches and trainers globally are invited into the party. So we're growing rapidly. And so what we have is a dedicated website. So this is not overtly HeartMath branded or anything. We had Heart as its own brand and its own movement. It's very much a sort of arm's length involvement from HeartMath. So we have the website with the directory. You can see there our friend Tilo, who's running a group in Ecuador, in Quito. And what we also do is we thought really carefully about the branding and the design. So we provide all of our coaches with digital assets that they can use for social marketing. And the idea is that we want to reach out into the world and to let people know that this is for everyone. So really, We at Heart is for every single person in the world, irrespective of your tribe, nation, background, race, gender, etc., etc. And so what we also do is we provide all of our group facilitators, or the 120 different group facilitators that we've got at the moment, with different Facebook assets. So you can see here what we're trying to do is to appeal to people along the lines of this is warm, friendly, open, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, this is for you and it will resonate with you. And then that carries through into things like email marketing as well. So we make it really easy for our group facilitators. And then we even go old school with flyers and posters that people can put up in the local community if they like. And so because we've got groups all around the world, we also translate. So we provide all of these different assets in different languages. And then the other thing that we do is we have a few select partnerships. So obviously we're proud to be a part of the Global Coherence Pulse network, very proud. And what we also do is we run special We at Heart meditations on World Peace Day, which is the 21st of September, and also on World Values Day on the 15th of October. So there's some of the partnerships we're involved in. And so there's an invitation. There's an invitation to all of you to join a group. And you can join a group very easily. Just go to weatheart.com. There's a directory, pop in your location. If you don't immediately see a pin there, then just zoom out on that map and you will eventually get to somewhere in the world that's nearby you where you can join a group. You don't have to join the group that's near you. You can join one anywhere in the world, actually. But it's quite nice to have that kind of local feel, even though everyone's online. You are also invited to run a group if you are currently a HeartMath coach and trainer. We don't have lots of resources, so we can only at the moment onboard HeartMath coaches and trainers. But if you are one and you're interested, then we'd love you to join the movement. We provide you with onboarding information, full support in terms of all that lovely branding, etc. So if you're interested in that, then please just email info@weatheart.com. And then lastly, to mention the Syntropy States side of things. So that's another really exciting project I'm involved in at the moment. So you saw a couple of examples there. We create two products, basically, audiovisual relaxation aids, and then what you guys saw there was the audiovisual breath pacers. So our first series is Coherence breath pacers, and those are created using digital generative art, and then the music has the 8D and binaural. So they just look beautiful on a HD screen, headphones on, they're wonderful. So they're available now. I've sent you a link where you can actually just view one anytime you like, free of charge, via Vimeo. If you'd like to purchase them, then the Coherence pacers that I showed you are currently, they're just £12, so about 14 US dollars. So they're available as MP4 downloads right now, and there will be an app coming soon as well. But if you want the MP4 downloads now, we will also send you the app free of charge when it's launched. So you can find out more there at syntropystates.com. Okay, that's, I think, wraps things up for the Weird Heart side of things, and also Syntropy States. So Teresa, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gavin, so much. How about all the people who are left on the line right now, that we still have over 300 people, that we all just take a minute, rub our hands together, bring a little bit of warm energy, and let's all send our love to Gavin for all that he's doing to bring coherence to people all around the world. And thank him for this very, very precious time today where we got to practice and pulse coherence for ourselves and the world. Wow, that love's so sweet. It almost brings tears to my eyes, Gavin. Thank you so much. And I did put a link in the chat if anybody would like to join a breakout group. I'm just going to open up a room for about a half an hour. I know many of you have been joining in the breakout groups, and it's just a nice chance to talk with each other a little bit before we go for the day. So if you'd like to join, please do. And Gavin, thank you, and we'll see you again soon. Let's have you join again. Yeah.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everybody.
Blessings. Yeah.